Let me ask you something. You're about to play Pyro. What melee do you go for? You most likely said the power check, and let's be real, it makes sense. There's no real downside to having it on your loadout, and it fits into every single loadout you could think of. You might have said the back scratcher, which helps if you're flanking around the enemy to get some medium health packs, which now act as near full health packs. There's also the home wrecker, for the pyros want to be helpful towards their engineers to make sure their stuff is always up and running for their team. All of these are fine options and make complete sense as to why someone would want to use them for their loadout, but with these being the more popular items in Pyro's melee slot, we should ask why they are the popular picks. For starters, they're more utility based. Pyro is a short range class primarily, and his primary weapon really only works in close range encounters. The only real way to attack long range is to hope someone shoots something that you can reflect. Either that, or you can use certain secondaries to shoot at enemies long range. Even with these two options, the class isn't the most useful with long range encounters. So using a melee weapon for close range attacking doesn't make sense when the class is built around doing more damage up close. So it makes sense as to why someone would rather have an item that makes you go faster, gives you more health on health packs, or remove sappers. But let's say you want to damage your enemies with Pyro's melee. What are your options? Well, you have a few options with varying quality. For starters, you have the Sharpened Volcano Fragment, which lights your enemies on fire with each hit. Now, why would someone go for a melee weapon to light your enemies on fire rather than any flamethrower is above me, but that's an option. You have the Third Degree, which is a legit upgrade to stock and is still not worth your time. Yeah, you have the ability to kill a medic via his Medibeam, but let's be real, that's way too situational to get any really good use out of it. There's the Neon Annihilator, which crits wet players. Only problem is, you need to be playing with other people using Girardi or Mad Milk, or being playing on a map with water to do anything with it. There's the Hot Hand, which gives you a speed boost with every hit, but the only problem is, the item fucking sucks. But let's back it up 20 words. Speed boost. Now you could get a slight speed boost with the power jack, but the item is very boring, and I'm gonna be honest, brain dead. I want an item that's more active and more fun to use. I want to get kills with my melee and be rewarded with it as well. I want something that is addicting and goes along with TF2's game design, rather than just feel like another weapon in Pyro's arsenal. I want the Axtinguisher. Before we really talk about the stats on the item, we need to talk about why someone would want to use a damage-based melee weapon for Pyro. So why do you want a damage-based melee weapon for Pyro? Well, for starters, being able to do a high amount of damage instantly with the smallest barrier of entry is very nice. You can't do that with the power jack or the home wrecker, and to me personally, the back scratcher's downsides are way too big for me to put it on regularly. Plus, not only that, but the upsides the Axtinguisher brings to the table are also quite nice, fitting in with several other dopamine-giving weapons and abilities. But if you don't believe me when I say this item is good, listen to the greatest TF2 player, Banny, explain it.
Shut the fuck up!
Okay, Banny's a little upset right now. We're gonna have to put him in the corner so nothing bad happens. In practice, the Axtinguisher is more challenging than the average Pyro melee. Less so that the item is hard to use, and more so that you have to be more active with it to get any upside with it. It's not as plug and play as the power jack, and you actually have to use the item to get use out of it. Yeah, who'da thunk it? You have to actually use the item. Great fucking script, me. The Axtinguisher has the ability to mini-crit burning targets, and the damage changes based on how much burn time the target has left. The more time they have, the higher damage that you do, and vice versa. The highest you can usually go on a mini-crit is around 130 damage. Not only that, but if you kill a burning target, you get a speed boost for 4 seconds, making you equal to the speed of a scowl. Now let's compare this to the power jack. You may get a speed boost indefinitely while the weapon is out, but you can't swap to any other weapon, and you have a higher damage vulnerability. The Axtinguisher, though, lets you swap to either your secondary or primary. Not only does your movement become more unpredictable, it'll make it easier to overwhelm your enemy with flame damage. Or on the other hand, if you want to run away from a situation, you're given the opportunity to do so after killing someone with the Axtinguisher. In fact, let's keep going. You could chain multiple kills together with the Axtinguisher, making it so you keep getting the speed boost over and over again. It's incredibly satisfying when pulled off well. Just be careful, because since getting used to this new speed is kinda hard. It's like when you finally get Ubered by a medic and you miss all of your shots. What do you mean it's just me? What do you mean it's just me? Now, while this is insanely fun and feels great to pull off, there are downsides to the item. If you hit someone that isn't burning, you only do a meager 44 damage, which is only 9 more damage than a butter knife. So if you have a hard time hitting someone that's running around, it might be best to just keep using the flamethrower. There's also this itty bitty teeny tiny problem that is hit registration in this game, and it fucking sucks! Sometimes. Yeah, there are times when you're using this weapon and you absolutely hit the target, but the game just says no. What? But there are ways you can get around this. If you really want to confirm a kill on a target, you can ignite the enemy, air blast them either at a wall or in the air, and then use the extinguisher to confirm the kill. This helps you get the kill even faster than you would before, but there is one thing to note. There's a quicker way of achieving this method, but it comes through not great means. Instead of wasting ammo for air blasting and then landing the kill, you can use the scorch shot to get the same effect. Now, why is the scorch shot better when there are several other flare guns that can be used? Is it the fact that it's easy to hit not one but multiple targets? Nah. Is it the fact that it can perform jumps and get you closer to your target? Nope. Is it the fact that it can one-shot light classes? Nah. Also, why can it one-shot light classes? That's insane that it can do that. It is the fact it has a stun mechanic. You could shoot the flare at someone, have them get knocked in the air, and then killed with the extinguisher. Not only that, by adding in the damage you got from the flare hit, you're going to be able to one-shot medics with this combo. While the other flare guns are good to use with it, there is no other option that is easier to pair with the extinguisher than the scorch shot. Though I should mention that the detonator is also a strong choice to pair with it. Having the ability to jump around the map to get closer to your enemies is a great option. Not only that, but having the ability to explode the flare mid-air is great too, since it allows you to attack the enemies afar and jump toward them for a good clean kill. Yes, the damage may not be as high as the scorch shot, but you'll have two things when you use the detonator, which is style and a soul. The flare gun and man melter aren't as strong of options, due to their lack of mobility and that their other upsides don't really help with what the extinguisher is trying to achieve. While using the shotguns isn't a bad idea in a normal scenario, it's too counterintuitive to get any good use out of the extinguisher, unless you're just looking for a really hard challenge for absolutely no reason. Now usually I would have talked about primaries first, but to be honest, the only one I would recommend you not use is the flog. The flog requires you to get burn damage for its effect, and the lack of air blast makes it too counterintuitive to pair with the extinguisher. But my go-to was usually stock because it gave me more air blast to work with, which helped when I needed to air blast someone into a corner, or if I needed to reflect some rockets away. The degreaser is also a fine option due to the higher switch speed, which makes hitting combos with your secondary and melee weapon easier, but really, you can't go wrong with any of the flamethrowers. But of course, I should mention that this weapon isn't perfect. While you're able to kill light classes, you can't kill every class like this easily. Classes with above 150 health won't take kind to your average axe-wielding pyromaniac, so you'll have to find other methods of taking them out. Pyros, while you can't hit them with the fire and mini-crit combo, you'll have to get more creative with your flamethrower usage. You're not going to be able to just hit the pyro with some flames and switch to the extinguisher. It's not fast enough. But there are a few ways to get around this though. You can aim the flames at the ground so it'll reflect off it, during which the flames will travel up and hit the pyro, which gives you time to switch to your extinguisher and getting the mini-crit combo. You can also jump from a high location, shoot some flames, and then switch to your extinguisher to get the mini-crit that way. Now, am I able to pull this off in game? Well, according to the Fifth Amendment, I don't have to answer that question. Thankfully, that's the only problem with the weapon. There's definitely nothing looming over this weapon. I can't think of a single thing. Here, look at this clip where I hit an enemy and killed them, except I didn't actually fucking kill them. Yeah, dealing with the terrible hit registration in the game isn't fun at all. There are some times where I hit an enemy several times with the sound effect going off, but I don't actually hit the enemy. What? I mean, it doesn't happen every time. It sure does feel like it some days, but don't let that distract you from the fact that this weapon can let you do some real cool stuff. And that's the part I really like about it. Having a damage option for your melee is fun, since it can kill quickly and gives you a reward for actively using it. Now with all that laid out, I think this item is insanely fun. If you find yourself only using the Power Jack or Home Wrecker, give this weapon a shot. It's harder to learn, but ultimately, that's good for the longevity of the game. Having new stuff to get better at is always a good thing, and it makes the game feel fresh. And you know what? I think it's time we let Banny out of the timeout corner. Come on out, Banny!
15 were found dead and 4 are missing after popular Team Fortress 2 player Banny was sent to the timeout corner.